Hello everyone, Mr. E here, reporting live for SLOPTIDE News Network, your most trusted source for all things Darktide, and of course, Slop. Today's hotfix number 79 brings some quite quality changes. Firstly, a major one to the plasma gunner, and then a few minor ones that are fixing some bugs and tweaks in the game. Before I get started, remember to support independent games journalism like SLOPTIDE News Network by subscribing to Mr. E and commenting down below and telling me how much you love Slop. Let's go ahead and begin with the plasma gunner major changes here. This is big, guys. So first of all, I'm going to read you what they have said they've changed, and then I'm going to show you a visual description of how, in fact, this will impact your gameplay going up against these bad boys. So they have introduced a new charging sound. They've introduced a new scope visual effects and scope sound effects, which they are claiming should make dodging more consistent. Then they have lowered the cooldown between shots from 2.4 to 2.0 seconds, and they've lowered the dodge window, the timing where you should be able to dodge, from 0.7 seconds to 0.6 seconds. So these last two elements here seem to imply that it would be harder to dodge this enemy. They're going to be firing more often, and they're going to have a smaller window to dodge them in. But in my experience, the first two changes more than make up for it. So here is some on the scene live recorded footage. I guess it's not live if it's recorded, but it's footage, and it is of the plasma gunner. Now you'll hear right away that new charge sound. It is much louder and much more noticeable, and it goes up in register. It goes up towards a peak as it approaches the end, which lets you know, okay, it's getting close to the time to fire, or the time to dodge. And then finally, when that shot goes off, there is a high-pitched noise that lets you know, okay, around this area, around this time is when I need to be doing the dodge, and you will see a very bright flash of light. So in two separate ways here, the plasma gunner is becoming closer and closer to the enemy that I compared them to unfavorably in the past, which is the sniper, because the sniper has a very high-pitched, loud noise that goes off before they fire their gun, and they have a very bright flash that tells you exactly where they are. So these two changes are very, very welcome, and although the cooldown between the shots is lower and the dodge window is lower, you can see here in the classic, time-tested 3 plasma gunner tests that I can survive pretty much infinitely because I can now know when the shots are coming without having to literally grow a third eye and have it glued to that last guy and make certain I know when he's firing. Now, notably, there is still clearly an issue. Maybe it's just only in the Psychanium, but there is still clearly an issue with double shots, because I saw at least one time during this clip already while editing this right now that the plasma gunner fired twice without charging again. He just went boom and then boom within another second. So there must still be some sort of issues related to that. Hopefully Fat Shark is appraised of that and is keeping an eye out for it. But overall, as you can see by the length of time I'm able to survive against these enemies, this is a much, much more reasonable setup, especially with that audio change. And it seems to me, which we'll talk about when we get to the bug fixes part, they've realigned the dodging window. They said they made it smaller, but they've realigned it to make it so that if you dodge before or like all the way up to when the shot comes out, it's going to throw their aim off wildly. So yeah, they aren't really able to hit you at all, in a similar way to if you just dodge around the sniper laser, he'll never lock on and actually hit you. So that means spam dodging is available, although you will quickly run yourself out of dodge charges. Let's go on to some general fixes, guys. There are some quality ones in here, so I do want to go over this because a couple of these will impact many people. Firstly, talking about impacting many people, rare crashes that could occur in Havoc when spawning enemies. Havoc is full of crashes right now. Really, really frustrating. Hopefully, the one this is the access violation that is causing whole teams to crash at one time. I know this was an issue in the past for Havoc, where certain elements, certain enemies would spawn into the map, and it would just instantly crash everybody on the team, and therefore it would cause you to instantly lose your attempt. So I know that this is frustrating tons of players. It frustrates the hell out of me too. And if I had to pick one thing to have the next several hot fixes be related to, it would be just crash fixes. Crash fixes, bug fixes like that are probably the #1 most pressing issue on most players' minds, because it's the one that really turns you off and rips you out of immersion. Honestly, Darktide is a pretty quality game these days, except for those crashing. It is so unstable. Watching players try to do Havoc and there's like players crashing out left or right. Thank God they fixed the bug with rotten armor. Quote, I say fixed, but it's fixed for me, but not for all players, it seems, because rotten armor was causing players to crash multiple times a game, up to 5-6 times a game. just due to the particle effects or something. And they finally fixed that, but there still remains more out there. So remember that there is a website, or there's a forum link up here at the top. If you go to the Fat Shark forums, post in there if you have one that you really, you want to devote some time to this and actually help Fat Shark to help us. It seems that they are narrowing in on some culprits, and they're working this week by week. But they've got a big mountain to climb ahead of them. And maybe someday in the far-flung future, guys, we'll look back at these times and we'll say, Error Code 2014, we miss you. What will we do when we realize what we lost by leaving behind Error Code 2014 and 2016 and all those classic guys? What will tie us together as a community without those crashes? I don't know, just some food for thought. Let's also talk about this bug, which I always thought was very humorous. If you were in the Morningstar and you paused the game and then came out of pause, it would play every sound line, every voice clip from all the inter-character dialogue that the game had been playing in the background while you were paused, all at once, overlapping. Very loud, very funny. That is now fixed, unfortunately. They fixed a patch of balding that was being caused by the veteran rangefinder goggles. Now that's great. We love these cosmetic updates. I know that's many of you's favorite reason to tune into SLOPTIDE news. They fixed an issue with plasma gunner sound effects, as they're saying here. I believe this is realigning that sound to when you should actually dodge. So previously, the sound was going off, but it was nowhere near when the shot was actually going to come out. It was like a half second off, which meant you would dodge the end of the sound, and the window would expire and you'd get shot. So this is making it much more consistent, and in my testing, it was very, very consistent. And 4 stabs were failing to shoot the projectile that triggered the perils of the warp state. Veterans infiltrate would not end when damaging an enemy within the first half second of entering stealth. Now this is a nerf to infiltrate. Infiltrate was able to double stab in the way that Childfield used to be able to, where you could hit a stab as you were entering into the stealth state and not break the stealth, but you would get the damage bonuses, and this is now nerfed. So that sucks for veterans and really sucks for infiltrate. Not that, it was being played by anybody. We also were having an issue with the Soul Blaze from Perilous Combustion and Venting Shriek to unaggro demon hosts, and that was waking them up. I've seen that happen a couple times. Not naming any names, but I mean, somebody accidentally pulled a demon host and got themselves and another member of their team killed due to that issue. So glad to see that fixed. There was an issue with the Relic Blade, which wasn't allow you to chain attack after performing a special activate or deactivate action while sprinting. Wow, man, good job to you guys out there. If you're in the mystery community, look at them. They're calling you out by name for fixing this, for helping to fix this bug and telling them exactly where it was. I like this. I honestly do. I don't know why I like this, but for some reason, like talking about like, hey, these members of the community were invaluable to us in order to narrow down this bug, I think that's going to incentivize and encourage members to like come forward with this stuff with the hopes that the devs will be thankful directly to them. So that's actually kind of nice. Fix the crash caused by the visual effect of rotten armor enemies. So, we thought we had fixed the same crash in our previous hotfix, but it was only a partial fix. This should solve all occurrences of the issues. So hopefully this fixes it for my boys out there who've been playing Havoc with me and are just crashing, 5-6 times a game. It is interminable, and hopefully, as they're saying now, this will fix all occurrences of this issue. Man, I can't believe I missed this. Fix an issue where players could path upwards from specific nodes in the veteran tree. I would have loved to see this. If you have any footage or knowledge of where this was, let me know in the comments, please. Okay, and then finally, let's resolve and wrap up with the known issues. Of course, they know about disconnects and server instability since the 1.9.0 update. Yes, please. 2004 and 2016, or whatever the bugs are, they are so common, they are so prevalent, and it is very frustrating. The game will just all of a sudden turn into an ice skating mess with enemies just sliding into walls, and you go, oh no, what's happening? And then you get kicked out of the game. And if you don't have an SSD, or you don't have a computer that can load in reasonable time, your team can very well die in the interim, because a lot of times it doesn't just happen to you. It kicks more than one player out at a time, and then you're left fighting a 4-man horde with 2 men. And latency is taking hold. And that has been very, very frustrating for yours truly, as you might have seen it when I was trying to push Havoc and people were being disconnected and lagged out all the time. This is something that they're working on and monitoring closely, but Full stability will take additional time. Hopefully, we can get it fixed in time for the winter update, and then it can stay stable through the winter update. Although I'm not putting too many eggs in that basket. Thank you guys very much for watching this SLOPTIDE news and staying abroad of everything that's going on with Dark Tide. I really appreciate you, and I'll see you out there. Mystery out. Bye.